Welcome to the San Francisco Writers Conference podcast, a celebration of craft, commerce, and community. I'm your host, Matthew Felix, and I'm...
Do your homework. Spend 10% of the time that you spent writing your book to look for your future business partner, because that's really all an agent is. I know.
And I felt that I held a piece of the puzzle that was being erased in a way.
Curious from a craft perspective how you kind of went about that.
10 years. I spent 10 years going about that.
Easy answer to that one.
And I want to be clear, I'm sure I have a little nostalgia, but it's not that. I think these are substantive grumbling that I'm making.
Do we feel like they're still hot? Is there anyone who maybe stands out?
Mario Lopez has not aged a day. I don't know what he's doing.
Do you know what I'm referring to? Can you share that?
I feel like I should read the book more carefully.
No. You knew this wasn't going to be easy.
I think we all hunger to be seen for who we are and appreciated for who we are. There's also a terror, right, in showing yourself as who you authentically are, So
how did you make that jump?
For me, a matter of life and death almost. Once I committed, there were opportunities, large and small, came my way.
Do you know what his name means?
I named him after a great uncle.
It means lover of God, basically.
Oh my God, you're right.
Would be a rough translation, right? So I assumed that was deliberate, but I thought that was perfect. And it was perfect. You just didn't know it was perfect.
I need that mystery in order to write. I need to not know what's happening, and I need to be dying to know.
And I'm sorry, Americans, you are not the only country.
Seriously? Where are the other ones?
In the world.
When did that happen? When did that happen?
Like no one else in the world reads books, right? Apart from Americans.
They try. Funny, they're just not very good at it. They're just not very good at it. Yeah. Especially with all those other languages. It's really hard.
The fear of failure, the fear of rejection, it doesn't necessarily go away, but you just learn to carry on anyway.
Why are we so fascinated with something that is so awful?
Beyond the drive for shelter and food and sex, well, what is it that we guys want to do? We want to destroy the other guys, right? The competition.
Better to do it with the written word than in actual real life. So I'm glad. We're going to talk about community.
I'm working on a novel now, and I have felt stuck on it. I would have lunch with somebody, and they would talk to me, and I would walk away feeling like, hey, I can do this.
My mom always loves my writing. Why shouldn't I share it with my mom? She says everything I write gets just better than the last thing I wrote.
Share it with your mom and share it with other people.
Okay. All right. I feel like I've made a critical mistake. I didn't realize that. She's the only one I ever share it with. I didn't realize. Okay. Good to know.
But you don't need an MFA to be a writer, right? You need time and you need, that space. But what the MFA for me did, there is something about immersing yourself in the craft of it.
I always thought, okay, you can either write about queerness or you can write about family and immigration. And now I think, immigration, it is a queer issue.
Right. And I'm sure it's also very fabulous.
Oh,
thank you.
I hope
Thank you. That's too easy. I had to go there.
She was, in fact, putting the manuscript that I had submitted directly into layout. I panicked.
Did you have any sense of this feels good because I'm honoring what seems right?
I think I mostly just felt nauseous.
I love this quote from Ross Perot, of all people, but I always think about it. He has this great line about how most people quit when they're like 1 yard from the goal line and they just don't know it. And I didn't want that to be me.
Talk about the book, Blood on the Fog, your new book, which is out September 21st. You called it the best book I ever wrote in my life. So, which is awesome.
And even back, as a child, thinking almost physically felt different when I was writing. It took a long time for me to even say I was a poet first. And that's the journey. I mean, you kind of turn a corner. I think you turn a corner with your craft when you pull it to the center.
People are desperate to understand how other people managed this time on Earth. What the reader cares about is who you are as a person. How did you figure it out?
You debunk a very popular myth.
I'm assuming that you're talking about the fact that Napoleon was not really short.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yes.
The story about him being short comes from several different ways. One is that the British used it as propaganda. I
think there will always be room in this city, in this Bay Area culture for people who want to try something new, want to change their name, want to move here and reinvent themselves.
I think that people build up this like mystique in their heads about like writing, that writing is this huge kind of terrifying thing. There should at least be times when you're like, oh my gosh, I'm having a total blast. I'm like making up all this cool stuff.
How did you know it's a trilogy? Is that because you are of Gratna descent?
Oh, nice. I love that. You're the first.
I really struggled for a long time to call myself a writer, to call myself an artist, because it wasn't a thing that I did every day. Recognizing that limiting mindset that I had enabled me to be able to do the thing that I want to do with joy and when I want to.
So why travel?
Anything that sort of gets you out of your comfort zone or expands your comfort zone is really a valuable undertaking.
Is there a difference between travel and tourism?
I say in my stage show, a traveler sees what he sees. A tourist sees what he has come to see.
Right, exactly.
I was very much aware that storytelling had a powerful place in our culture and that it was being transformed into a new kind of folklore. And that was the personal narrative.
Someone asked me one time if art and creativity and mental illness go hand in hand. The research shows it doesn't. Except in one way. When you're writing, when you're in the flow, that is very much a form of mania.